Hey, what's up, you guys? My name is Vincent. This is going to be the first of many videos that I release to this channel going over consciousness-based topics. Recently, I've been really inspired by some other small creators who have made talks just like this and dropped them to their channel without any real video content behind it. And some of those deep dives on advanced spiritual topics have been incredibly useful to me. So I'm hoping that I can release these in the hopes that other people will run across them and it will help them on their journey. Maybe give them some consciousness shifts and insights that will make a big difference. So that is why I am doing this. I have had the call for over 2 years to make videos and work with people about these topics. And I have just not had the time due to my life situation to give the videos the level of attention that I want to. However, I do have time during my drives, and I can pull away to my truck here and there to just talk about these things in detail, and I hope that they help. So I'll try to make this short and sweet. This is just an introduction video about who I am, why you should listen to me, why I want to share this type of content, and then I will get into the more spiritual topics in coming videos. So I'm an individual who inherited a vessel with a serious neurological birth defect. I'm not going to get into the details about this stuff. It's not important, but the main thing to understand is that this neurological defect is incredibly difficult to live with. Many people that have it commit suicide, and it affects every aspect of your life. It produces a ton of suffering and causes a lot of strain socially, and just there's a lot to it that makes it very difficult to deal with. I also have ADHD that's severe and a genetic predisposition for impulsive and violent criminal behavior. I have that on both sides of my family. I come from, very poor families that were involved in a lot of shady stuff. So I basically was handed a vessel that had a lot of issues to begin with before the story even started. My childhood was extremely challenging. We all have challenging childhoods in different ways. I had a lot of suffering and trauma to work through, and I entered my late teens and early 20s completely unconscious, in a lot of shady stuff, addicted to drugs, hard drugs, weed, alcohol, cigarettes, you name it, binge eating problem, seriously overweight, barely able to hold down a job, constantly suicidal, severe anxiety, severe depression, and, barely making it, barely surviving month to month. So it was an incredibly challenging time, and also just surrounded by others who also had massive mental illness, poverty, struggle, suffering, lots of violence, and just living in one of the worst cities in America and one of the worst neighborhoods in that city. Witnessed drive-bys in my neighborhood. I had somebody die 2 streets down. I remember having to hit the deck in my front yard because there's a drive-by happening. This is the type of scenario that I was living in. Complete unconsciousness, lots of suffering, in a terrible life situation, truly. And when I was 18 or 19, I had 2 very distinct things happen to me. I had a voice coming to me, not an audible voice, but a spiritual, telepathic voice coming to my mind in the form of thoughts telling me, you need to seek out suffering. You need to seek out suffering to grow. And I was so immature at that point, I can't even believe that's how I know it wasn't coming from me, is I would never have sought out suffering. I was very much a instant gratification individual. And so that came to me. And then I had an experience of astral projection where I essentially had the experience of having my consciousness and my body separated and looking down and seeing my body on my couch in my apartment. And I was largely not super spiritual, although I had always had this interest in the universe and the cosmos and the mind. I stayed away from that. I was more interested in worldly pursuits for quite some time. But those 2 experiences of having this weird push towards trying to, push myself to the absolute limits, and then experiencing consciousness as separate, and having some really weird signs and so on happen to me. I've always kind of had like these weird standout signs that have happened, and other people have seen them and been like really weirded out by it, and like, wow, that's crazy that just happened to you. And then that made me get really obsessed with anything spiritual, and that led me to, just compulsive reading on anything spiritual, philosophical, psychology related, religions, all the holy books, just hours and hours and hours of reading these books and listening to talks and doing deep dives and getting really serious about meditation and spending thousands of minutes in meditation and just changing. And so I went from being this incredibly unconscious, violent, selfish, victims complex, addicted individual to dropping all addictions. I dropped the drink, I dropped the drugs, I dropped cigarettes, any of my, shady criminal behavior was dropped out the window. I lost a ton of weight. I got really healthy and fit for the first time in my life. I moved to one of the best states in the country statistically to live in 2024, the best state, and completely changed my life. I started a business. I took myself out of complete, poverty, barely making it, to having financial security for the first time in my life on my own, and just completely changing my life by becoming more conscious, increasing my consciousness levels, learning about spirituality, learning about all of these subjects. And so I have had a hard time figuring out what I wanted to do with my life. I taught myself how to do remodeling and construction, and so that's what I do day to day. And I just had a deeper yearning to really help people heal after my very close friend died by suicide recently. And just watching other people around me suffer, in extreme ways just due to the mind, and not understanding that we are not our minds, and not understanding the deeper message of Jesus or these other spiritual teachers over history, and people just having such, truly spiritual ignorance that leads people to suffer and have pain. And I just noticed that is the real cause of all suffering, is this ignorance and non-integrated wisdom that will put you in a state of peace. And so, like I said, I am not at the highest level. I still have a lot of growth to do, because, occasionally I still get tripped up in the ego and in thought content, and I, forget not to be so distracted and identified with it. And so then I have these moments of frustration and irritation when I'm sucked back into the physical world and day-to-day human life. And so that happens to me occasionally, but I would say for the most part now, I am able to stay in a state of peace and non-resistance and just pure conscious awareness day to day. And I keep myself in a pretty high vibrational state on average, even when my life situation is difficult. I've had a lot of challenges since moving here because I've been around my family again. But regardless, I was there and I am now here, and I'm hoping that making these videos, that these videos will run across people that were, closer to where I was, and I can bring them up to this point, and then they can continue to grow with me. And I hope to build, these videos and these talks, hopefully can build a community of people that have like-minded thought processes about these spiritual sciences, and we can kind of come together and grow as a group and try to go out there and teach and raise the collective consciousness in a way that is meaningful and impactful, because it really matters. So anyways, why you should listen to me: I've made a complete 180 in my life. I have dropped many, many vices. I know how to do it. I know a lot. I'm very well educated and well read about a lot of spiritual topics. I can continue to read. I know a lot about psychology, and I want to help people. And I know these things not just from books. I am able to take what I've learned and ground them in reality, test them, understand them. I don't just believe anything that I read. I bring it to real life, and I have a real logical and scientific approach to these spiritual topics, because I don't think that those two things are separate. I think that they're very much one and the same, and that you can approach them with this sort of objectivity, looking for the real results and how they actually impact and change your life and manifest changes that are meaningful and good. So, and objectively good. So, yeah, that's why I am making the videos. I've seen a lot of people suffer. I want to help people. And so that's my personal story and why this is my path. I've had the source telling me this for quite some time, really pushing me to make these videos, and me struggling to feel like, am I ready? Am I good enough to make the videos? I feel like I am now at a place where I feel confident fully in what I know, and I hope to help others. So if you need help, if you're listening to this or you've listened to other videos of mine and you're just coming back to know more about me, and you would like to get in contact with me, I would encourage you to do so. If you're someone who thinks they have something to teach me based on listening to the videos that I've made, I would encourage you to do that also. I'm always open to learning more and growing, and that's what's important, is really bringing myself to a state of being free from all these things so I can teach others to do the same. So that is what's important to me. Now, outside of my own personal story, and what's more important from a larger collective consciousness, is the fact that the singularity will be occurring soon. And I'm going to make a video about this after this video, going into detail about what the singularity is. But if you don't know what the singularity is, I'm going to tell you right now a brief definition. And it is this point at which this AI will become exponentially improving in its ability without our input. And so eventually it's going to gain this sort of self-awareness and self-ability to learn and grow and increase in its abilities exponentially over time, which is going to lead to an explosion of things happening in this world. So one quick stat from one of the books that I read about this is that there will be Nobel Prize level discoveries every day. That's how insane life is going to become. Like, a lot of people say, man, I just want things to get back to normal before this pre-COVID thing. That era is over. And now things are going to start changing even more. It's not going to change. There's going to be more and more and more. And so it's best to buckle up and get ready for it. But it's going to happen somewhere between the 2030s and the 2050s. I personally think it's going to be within the next 7 to 12 years. And here's the problem. Because this event is going to be so insane, like, you have to think about the significance of this being like having, something that can cure all diseases, get rid of aging, make any technology possible. Like, the outcomes that this thing is going to be able to produce is absolutely nuts. It's like a nuclear, it's the significance if someone created a nuclear bomb that could literally destroy the entire earth in 1 second. Or it has the significance of, like, Jesus being on earth. He was the most famous human in all of history, and has impacted human history in ways that we can't even understand. That in its entirety, that is what this event's going to be. And so there's three things that have likelihood to occur. One of the things is that if we do not raise in collective consciousness, and we do not evolve spiritually, it is going to end up in the hands of an ego, and anything in the service of the human ego is going to lead to massive destruction. It's going to lead to a dystopian future. And I don't say that to scare you. It's just one of the possibilities that could happen if we are not careful, if we remain asleep and not paying attention to what's happening with these things as a collective. The other possibility is that it is used in the service of the collective good, of pure, loving, intelligent consciousness, and it creates heaven on earth. It removes almost all limitations and creates a massive environment of abundance, love, creativity. It could be the best thing that ever happened to us. The other thing is that if there was going to be a divine intervention at any point in human history, it would be right before this thing happens, because life is going to look so different after this event occurs. And it's not if it's going to happen, it's when. So we know it's going to happen. We know it's going to happen somewhat soon. We're in 2025, so it could be anywhere from, 5 to 15, 20 years from now. And it's going to happen. It's going to change everything. It's going to lead to either hell on earth or heaven on earth. So we know at this point, because of the massive impact, if there was going to be a divine intervention, it would be before this event. So those three things lead me to say that this is the most important moment in history where we all need to be raising the collective consciousness in order to prevent the latter from happening. Now, if it does happen, if it is the source's will for that to be overthrown in the future, it will happen. It's likely that it will, the heaven on earth that I think we're intended to have, because the source is sort of perfecting creation over time, it will just push that out and make it further away. And I don't know about you guys, but I would rather have that happen now than, multiple decades from now and miss out on seeing that come into fruition. So we need to raise the collective consciousness before this happens. And the only way that we're going to do that is by preaching these spiritual topics, getting out of dogma, and getting into awareness and helping people to grow and learn about the mind and how it works, and just getting out of the mind matrix and into spirit completely. The more people that are in spirit, the more they will hear from the spirit, the more the collective will be controlled by the spirit. And that means that God will be able to work through us in order to, make its will happen on this planet. It's going to do it regardless. However, because we have free will and we've been, asked to be stewards of this planet, it's kind of up to us to a certain extent. And so, this is why I think it is important. This is why, I feel like I've been pushed to spread the messages that I have, is because we need to prepare. This is the moment before where John the Baptist is telling everyone, we need to prepare, get ready, change who you are, have a shift in, that repent word means to have a shift in consciousness and to turn away from the ways of the ego and to turn towards the spirit before this massive event comes. And we need to have thousands, hundreds of thousands of John the Baptists out there, metaphorically speaking, letting people know that we need to prepare for this event and be ready, because if we are unconscious, if we are trapped in the ego and in fear and in greed and in selfishness, this is not going to be good for the collective. So this is the secondary reason why I'm making these videos. One, because I have skin in the game. I have changed. The healing has been life-changing. I want to spread that because it's, the intelligent consciousness has completely healed me, and I believe in it. It is a real thing that you can be in relationship to, and I want to show other people how to do that in a way that's outside of sometimes the confines and too much structure and dogma that the religious institutions today have, which can be useful for some individuals, but for others it's not useful. So I want to be able to help with that, and also because I have fear that if we do not grow in the collective, that an event like this might happen. And so regardless of what happens, it is whatever event occurs, that's going to be our reality. However, I love humanity, and out of love and concern for us as a species, I think it's really important that myself, I spread the message that I can and be as loud as I can, so I can know I've done everything in my power to help raise the collective, and I hope that you guys will too. So that's why I'm making the videos. That's why I feel like I have, some qualification. I've read probably hundreds of books at this point, thousands of hours of listening, and many sessions of meditation. I've been meditating pretty consistently for over 4 years now, and can help a lot of you guys make progress. Like I said, I don't claim to be enlightened, master level. individual, but what I do know is that I've experienced non-duality. I've really got up into, the higher levels of consciousness for weeks at a time. It is an amazing, beautiful experience that makes life just, it's just incredible. And I want to share that with people as I continue to work out my own ego structure and, just completely continue to grow in consciousness and be an individual that can really help more people as I get to higher levels. So I'm going to make these videos. I hope that they're helpful. If you really like what I'm about and you like the videos, please reach out to me. I encourage you, if you have the nudge at all, to talk about God or to talk about your experiences, regardless of what faith background you are or what you believe in, to get out there and talk about it. And I would encourage you to, don't worry so much about spreading belief systems. Just talk about what you became aware of and how you grow, or what practices helped you, and just talk about what worked for you. Don't talk about blind dogma about this is what you should believe and this is what you should do and these are the rules. Don't do all that. Just talk about what actually helped you change, because those are the things that are actually going to help other people. Don't worry about all the other stuff. It's important to remember that. So I love you guys so much. I hope that these talks help. I think that's all that I really wanted to say, and I appreciate you listening to this. If you listened to the full talk, it means a lot to me. I hope that you'll subscribe and support my channel, and that you'll stick around and listen for more. And again, if you disagree with some things that I say in future videos, you have questions, I really want to encourage a lot of, interacting. I plan to interact with people in the comments and talk to people. If you want to have a one-on-one talk with me, I'm always open to do so. So I love you guys. Let's all do our part to raise the collective. Even if you do something really simple, even if you're like you work at a restaurant or you do something that you think is not that big of a deal, do it consciously. Give it your full attention. Love on others. Give them your presence. Do what you can to spread the medicine, spread the source to everybody that needs it. To my religious folks, be the hands and feet of God. Serve everybody around you. Don't forget to take care of yourself. You are a child of God too. It doesn't mean destroy yourself to, the thing is you want the cup to overflow. That means that your cup is full first. So you need to make sure your cup is full first and let everybody have the overflow. Don't forget that. Let your light shine. And I love you guys. Have a good day. And I hope to talk to you soon and with more videos. And let me know if you have any topics you want me to talk about. Bye.